I said when we first started doing these videos I would show you warts and all, and the Manchester project has got a major issue with it. Hello and welcome to Spitfire Engineering. I think this is now episode 62. This week I'm going to find out what turned up in the yard last week when I was in Manchester, and I go back up to Manchester, fingers crossed, up and running this week, get some material going through it. So, view from inside the trommel, and there's been a new addition. We now have a conveyor coming into the trommel. So, didn't have a chance to film whilst we were unloading because it was raining and it was all a little bit frantic trying to get it done. So let's show you what we've now created. So this conveyor still needs adjusting. We're a little bit tight down the bottoms here, so that just needs adjusting up. We've just squared it off, but there she is, feeder hopper and conveyor one. So the material's going to go in the hopper, come up this conveyor, roll around in the drum. All the little bits will fall out underneath, big bits will carry up here and fall onto this conveyor. Now last week you'll know that I said that we were going to put this conveyor over to the side, so if eagle-eyed viewers can see that that conveyor is not dead central, then you are correct, because this trommel drum is going to go up this way, so any material spilling out is not going to be there. It's going to be spilling out from here up to about here somewhere, and that falls directly into the conveyor. So although the conveyor is over to one side, he's absolutely fine and he's doing what it should do. This ratchet strap here needs to come off now. We just put that on there to make sure we were tight up against the trommel, because as you can see, stuff falling out is only just going in, because as I mentioned last week, because we're on Lego blocks, we're sort of limited by what sizes we can do. So I'm going to jump down now and show you what it looks like from the ground. So view from ground level, hopper is in position. Massive gearbox on it compared to the others on this installation. Trommel gearbox is actually quite chunky. Can you guess in the comments how much you think that gearbox weighs? It's heavy. Two men will not lift it, to give you some indication of how heavy that is. There's still some guarding to go over these rollers, which is what these holes are for here, going along, so nobody can get their hand in there. There's also some plates that bolt onto here that bring the material down onto here. There's some nylon strips to go down the sides. Slots are there so you can adjust it. So there's some nylon strips to stop the material from spilling out. In the bottom of the conveyor there is a rubber flap still to go across those holes there. New belt scraper that we covered last week, I think this was in, just to keep that nice and tidy on the belt, because what you don't want to do is have material spilling out as it's going along. You get a day like today where it's damp, some of this dust going on the belt, you could end up with it wrapping around the returns roller underneath there. So that's why we've put a belt scraper on this. Interestingly, because we ended up going on Lego blocks, this was supposed to be a precast bunker originally, and it only changed to Lego blocks in the last week or so, hence why we've had to use a beam at the bottom, which is frustrating because it's probably not as tidy as I would like, but needs must. When you got the conveyor on a high ab dangling, you have to think on your feet a little bit. So that's why that is where it is, because that should have been about here somewhere, about 2 meters. That's about 2.4 that is from the floor, and we should have been down here somewhere at 2 meters, hence why we've had to do that. So this conveyor has now been secured to the floor, nice and tight up against there. As I say, I would have liked a bit more overhang with the drum in there, but that's as good as it's going to get. See if it's a problem and probably make some amendments to that back panel in there and sort that out. Monday morning and I am back in the yard. We've got a couple of site banks going out on hire today. So we've got Hampsons in with their HIAB coming to pick them up. These two are going on hire to Liverpool. So let me just give you a quick show of what the site bank looks like, just in case you're a new subscriber, new viewer, and you've not seen them before. So site bank is one of our products. We've made these new product for this year. Basically, it is a lockable box lined with concrete on all four sides, top and bottom, and it's got a sliding door here which slides over to here, and basically it's an ultra secure box from building sites. It's our product, our design. I designed this over New Year's Eve time, New Year's holidays last year, and we've made 5 of these machines. That's 3 out on hire now, with inquiries for people to buy them as well. So we've got another one over here that's going out. It's going to be loaded up in a minute. George and Archie are just locking the doors. So these are going to get loaded up and sent to Liverpool on hire. So just coming for a wander out in the yard this afternoon. We've had an afternoon of meetings, different things. Just come out of a meeting with Archie, Steve and George, where we've been talking about the trommel design, or the trommel drum that's just gone to the Manchester project, because obviously there was a few design tweaks that we've done on there. We've updated and refreshed the design for 2025 on that one, so we had a bit of a shakedown on that one just so we could discuss how successful it was, what was good, what was bad, what would we do different on the next one. So we had a meeting to discuss that, and then we went straight into, after that, a meeting to discuss the new one coming up that's going to the Cayman Islands, because obviously that's a similar design. It's a smaller trommel and it's a similar design, but it's obviously got conveyors going off of it, which we will show you at some point. So we were just talking about how we could incorporate the new designs into that, as we sort of transition from the old style into the new style. So that is actually looking like a good project. The proof of concept design is in with the customer at the minute. We're just waiting for feedback on that. Basically that means, are you happy with this dimension here, this drop on the conveyors, is that the right length, have you got enough clearance there, those types of conversations and comments. We're just waiting to hear back from the customer on that, and as soon as they've done that and they agree that, or we need to change it, we will then change it, and then me and George, possibly Archie and Steve at that point, we will go back over the design and just make sure that we're happy with it, because this one is going to be hydraulically powered. It's not going to be electric. They've actually specifically asked to do hydraulically powered, which is something we would not normally do, because we prefer electric. It's a lot easier to control, it's a lot easier to wire up, it's just a lot more efficient. So if you've transitioned from hydraulic to electric, you'll appreciate to actually go back to doing hydraulics, and that does feel like a bit of a backward step, but this is what the customer wants. The main reason they're doing this is because you cannot guarantee the quality of the electricity in the Cayman Islands. Apparently it's a bit, irregular. They quite often have power cuts, especially when you think they have extreme weathers over there. The power can be out, apparently the power can be out for weeks. So to have this as diesel hydraulically powered, that's the answer. And interestingly, they couldn't give a monkeys about the emissions that we have to put up with in this country. They actually said, look, just give us the most basic engine as possible. Nobody's interested in AdBlue, SCR, EGR, all that nonsense out there. Not interested at all. Apparently the fuel that comes in is from the States and it comes in pretty good, but the storage on the island is such that by the time it gets to the end user and to the engine, there's no guarantees it could be as clean as when it first come on land over there. So yeah, I thought it was quite interesting, to be honest. Other things going on this week, I've got various different customer visits out tomorrow, Wednesday. I'm back up at the Manchester project later on this week. We're interviewing 2-3 people tomorrow for the service engineers role that we've got going on at the minute. Dan, that was on the service engineers van, he finished last week. He's gone on to pastures new, so we wish him well in that, and we're looking to replace his role. But we've also had a meeting today that we are also going to be looking for another engineering operative, and we're potentially also going to be looking to recruit more of like a storeman, yardman type role, somebody that can unload deliveries, load lorries up, count stock in, allocate stock to different jobs, have a tidy up in the workshop, empty bins, extra pair of hands here and there, that sort of role. Because when you walk around the workshop, I'm not happy with the cleanliness, and I appreciate the guys are flat out busy in there, but we do need to keep on top of general housekeeping, and if that means we need to employ somebody else to keep on top of that and be responsible for it, then that is what we're going to have to do. So we're looking for somebody to go on the service van, that's one role. We're looking for another general operative in the workshop, and we are also looking for a storeman. So I've just asked the question up in the office what all that stuff is that's turned up in the yard last week while I'm not here. Andrea knows all about it, so let's find out.
It is a customer who I've been working with. We've seen him in a week or so's time, but we've arranged that he would like us to do a solution for him. They are part of a docking system, and we will be responsible for making that docking system into a new system that he's got an idea of.
And what's it actually going to be doing, this docking system?
For pallets or parcels in loading bay areas.
And
that's as technical as I get.
And it's for removing them from one trailer and putting them in another, yeah?
Yeah, something like that.
So there you go. Now we all know exactly what all that stuff in the yard is for. Wednesday morning, didn't have much of a chance to film yesterday. Yesterday was a busy day. We interviewed 2 people yesterday for 2 different roles. So we'll see how that one pans out. I went to a wash plant yesterday. They're looking for a couple of feeder hoppers. So I went and done that yesterday. And then we had a team meeting yesterday all about scorecards and how we can manage the business better. So yesterday was a busy old day. Today I've got another busy day. It is now 6 o'clock in the morning. I am heading down to the southwest of England to look at a job. So I've got a 170-mile trip this morning. Got to be there for 10. Have a look at a job down there, and then I'm hot-footing it all the way up the M5 and M6 to just south of Manchester to another meeting, and then I'm meeting up with the lads in Manchester for tea this evening. I should probably get there tea time to see them, stay with them overnight, and then we are back on site tomorrow. So it has been a crazy busy few days here at Spitfire. I don't know what Archie's been filming in the workshop, because if you haven't noticed, Adam's done the dirty on us again. He's gone on holiday again. That man has more holidays than me. I'm sure this will probably be the last one for a little while, but it is certainly handy when Adam is here to do some of the filming. I think it does actually work quite well when Adam's here doing the filming. So we'll see how this episode pans out. It could be a little bit bitting and bobbing between me and Archie, but Adam normally edits. The last time we did this when he was in Mexico, which is only about 3 weeks ago, he was off. But Adam seemed to piece it all together, and I think it turned out all right. So let's see what this week turns out like. So if you watched last week, you'll recognise that all of this is now in place. So we've still got this chute here to fit, that goes on the end there, and there is also some nylon side skirt to put inside there. So that's to go on. The lads have put underguards on here, just needs them bolts doing up and tightening up. So underguards underneath the conveyors. So any conveyors that are below 2.5, any under any conveyors from 2.5 metres to the ground, we put underguards on, so nobody can get their hand into any under rollers, returns rollers or anything like that. No pinch points, so it's all nice and safe. There shouldn't be anybody operating in this area, but just in case there is, we put underguards on. Trommel's looking good. Same with this conveyor, underguards all underneath. Nice and safe. Got a start-up alarm out here. Red little button just there. It's not a button as such, but it's a start-up alarm. When we start the machine inside, there's a delay on start-up and also a warning siren to let people know in the area that the machine is starting up. So there's one out here that covers this entire area out here, and there's also one inside, which I will show you that in a minute. There's also an emergency stop at the far end which will switch everything off. So if the operator out here sees a problem with anything out here, he can stop it from out here. He's not got to go to the control panel over there, and that stops everything. We had Interbelt in yesterday and they have joined the belt, so that is good. This conveyor's got to be shunted this way, so it's up against this conveyor and discharges into the middle of this belt. So there's that to do. Side guards to be put on there now because they had to come off. You'll see there's some already halfway up there. So there's some side guards to put on there. So that all looks nice and tidy. What's been going on in this area? Nothing really. Nothing's changed here. Got an e-stop here as well. So anybody down this end of the shed can switch it off if necessary. We've also got another one here. There's one, I think there's one up there. There's one at the far end of the platform. There's one at ground level, the far end. So nobody's within sort of 20 paces of nobody's not within 20 paces of an emergency stop. We've got a control panel over here which controls the eddy current, which is this machine here, because there's speed control on the two motors. There's one on the rotor for the eddy current and there's one on the belt, obviously, that's on the eddy current. So we've got speed controls on these two here. This machine is controlled by the main control panel over there, but we've got localized control panel for control. So if it needs it, because you can adjust these, you can adjust how fast the rotor goes depending on what you've got going over it. So you can adjust it here, and that's why there's a localized control panel. Remote grease bank here that controls all of the out of reach conveyor bearings. JMO and Stuart just turned up. They've just been for the lunch to get it from the shop. Cable tray coming down with nice tidy cables. That's all the cable left over because obviously we did them. Sean, our electrician, did them in the yard and did them over length, so we've been trimmed to sit. So that wire there can go back to the yard and we'll utilise that on another job. So that's good. Control panel. Don't know if I've showed you this yet, but basically you've got a manual and an auto on there. So in auto, it will start in sequence and it will start picking line, conveyor 8, conveyor 7, tells the tommers what to do. So you start from this end, so you can't start feeding material in unless everything's running. So it'll be running from the end first and then come back in sequence. So you can run it in auto, or if it's in manual, you can start the individual things up, and you've got lights on there to say when they're working, and you've got auto start and stop here if you're in auto. So Sean, our electrician, has done us proud on that one, and we've also done a nice sticker for the customer as well. Let's have a little wander upstairs and see what we can see. Picking bins have been put in. Customer wanted them in these positions because I think they're going to pick the concrete off into this bin and some like rubber and bits and bobs into here, I think. So the reason that they are positioned where they are is because the customer is going to put a big 20-yard row underneath here and a little bin under here, which is why this is tucked over here, and that sits sort of central in the picking line. The lads have put this safety stop in here. The idea of this is if you're standing here and you need to stop it, you can just grab that and pull it, and that will stop the machine. So it just saves, if you're standing here and the stop button's down here, it just saves you having to step round to come to the stop button. So that's fairly standard on picking lines, that is. We put it on all of our picking lines. So that's just dead simple, sits on there and does that. We've still got some handrail to put at the top of these ladders up here. There is some handrail that goes into this gap here, so nobody can fall through there when they're upstairs. There's that to do. There is some chutes on the bottom of the tomras, which I will take you down there now and show you them. These here are the clamping strips, because once we've got all of this running and we track these belts, once this belt is tracked left and right and we've got it in the middle and that, we'll put the side skirts on, and the same as the side skirts on some of these other conveyors. What we're going to do is we're going to lift these side skirts up, track the belt, and then set it once the belt's settled, because if the belt does go off to one side, there's a chance that the side skirt could get trapped underneath. So let me take you round here. Electricians have done their usual, but that is under control and being tidied up. So we've got some chutes in here now. That contain the material into the conveyors. That's a new addition. We've now got lights now, have we, Stuart? Electricians have been in and put some lights in the building. George was teased the other day. He was asked to go and put the lights on, and he spent 10 or 15 minutes looking for a light switch and there wasn't any lights in here, which he is still sore about a week later, understandably. We've got some posts over here. These posts here are going to go around the bottom of the picking line over there, and then we're bolting mesh panels to it just to stop anybody from climbing onto the bottom of that conveyor. There's one there and the one at the end of conveyor 5 over here. Sounds like the air dryer's working on the compressor. You can hear that working. So there'll also be some fencing to go around the bottom of this conveyor here now. Now that the belt people are done, we'll get the side skirts put on, and then there'll be some fencing that runs all the way through here to the end, across, and then we'll return to this conveyor once this conveyor's been moved over closer to that one. So yeah, that sort of brings you up to date really with where we are. Don't know if we'll get it running today. There's a lot of other stuff going on. Tomra are due in tomorrow to do some commissioning on theirs, but the electricians have still got quite a bit to do. We've got some underguards to put under here. I think it probably goes up to about here somewhere. Yeah, you can see some bolt holes up there. So there is some underguards to go under there, and at the top where the walkway is. Tighten them up outside. Got to get these side guards on here. So yeah, we've got stuff to do, but there's a slight chance we might be waiting for the electricians, but we'll see how we get on. Now, last week I asked how heavy people thought this gearbox was. So, if you did guess, this is the answer. 265 kilos. I don't know if it says on there. Yeah, no, 240 kilos actually. 240 kilos. I thought somebody said it's 265, but it's 240 kilos.
So currently sat inside Adam's office at the minute, a little bit of peace and quiet with him not here this week. Thought it was a good little space to film with everyone else in the office and everyone out in the workshop making noise, which is what we like. We like noise, it means we're working. So out in the workshop we've got Rob, he's working on the site bank, and then he will be leading on to some digger radio pods for a repeat customer.
That still are yet to be folded, and then a whole...
There is Steve, who is fabricating the, what's it called? The container project vibrating feeder walkway. So they've had some adaptations that they've wanted doing to the vibrating feeder setup. So part of that is a small walkway to go along the back of the container, which Steve is currently making. And then you've got Connor, who is fabricating the parts for the 3-metre conveyor, which will be going onto the EcoHog in a few weeks' time. So yeah, if you can remember that was in the yard a few weeks ago, probably over a month ago now. And then yeah, that conveyor is getting installed in a few weeks' time by some of the team. So another little addition to that machine that you'll see from start to finish. So it is a Wednesday afternoon at the minute. I'm not filming this week. Adam is on holiday. Haven't had a chance. We've been very busy still. Got a fair bit going on in the workshop at the minute. So we've got Rob. He's just finished off one of the site banks, so that'll be going through to paint fairly soon. Steve is making some parts. So this is a walkway for one of the projects, the container vibrating feeder container projects that we did a few months ago. So Steve is doing that. It is so not much at the minute, but it's going to be a walkway, not very wide, just something the customer wants adding on. This is what part of it will look like. So that's main framework for it. There we go. And then yeah, that's the overview of what it's going to look like. So we've got thin bottom walkway, small staircase up to another top walkway with a handrail on one side, so the container wall is up there. So that is why there's only one handrail. But yeah, so that is in addition to one of the previous projects we've had. Got Rob singing behind me. And then in here, we've got Connor. Do you want to talk? So Connor is fabricating the conveyor for the 3-metre conveyor. Rolling.
Conveyor. Folded bits. They're all folded now. It's quite a stubby conveyor, as it's only 3 metres, but it is also quite wide. I don't know how wide it is, but take my word for it, it's quite wide. I'm just starting on the tail section at the minute. I've only just started fabricating tail section. A few more plates to go on. Got a plate going across here, 2 plates either end, and one of these to go over the top of it to hold the bearing so it can slide up and down there to adjust. Yeah, shouldn't really take too long with these, they're quite simple, we do loads of them. Yeah, should see more as I go on.
Perfect. So as you've seen there, and you may have noticed, I have got some slightly different overalls on. These are a new type we are trying out, so all of the welder fabricators in the workshop have got some pairs of these. So the high-vis, so most sites we're still going to need to wear an orange jacket, just because the high-vis are okay when it's dark and there's lights, but in the daytime still probably going to need to wear an orange jacket. But yeah, we'll just give them a go, see what happens. Already getting some burn marks, but they are still looking better than what our previous overalls did within the same sort of space of time. My job at the minute is I am modifying a thumb for a digger bucket. So I've just air out gouged in here, not too long ago, hence why I can touch it. So yeah, I'm going to just go over this, grind it, so there's top and bottom. Both of the old bushes are here, so you can see where I've dug in there. Very noisy, very messy. Didn't get any filming with that unfortunately, but when it's working in the machine we'll get some clips. So it's not a big job, so I'm not going to be filming too much of it. Probably just the finished end result and maybe a little bit of the testing. So sorry, one of the sales reps is coming out and he's going to just take some pictures and videos with us during some of the testing phases, just so the customer's happy with how we're doing it and the placement of everything. Then coming through here in the cutting room. Robert is about to be folding, so he is doing there's another drawer system as well for the vibrating feeder container project that they're adding in. So there's all of that to do. Rob is on that, and then if I take you over here to the plasma cutter table, you can see the program that Colin has got running here at the minute. So these are some quick hitch mounts for some diggers, I believe. So we're making 100 of them. Local company, local dealer, they do all sorts, diggers, dumpers, and they come to us for all sorts. So we are also making 25 radio pods. So they are the folded and painted brackets, essentially, that they will put some of the radios in that then sit inside the cabs of the diggers. So we make that for the dealer, they go out as standard. Yeah, that's all for now, I think. To be fair, the other thing I need to show you, which there may have been some videos about before, drawings are on the plasma cutter. Huh? Drawings are on the plasma cutter. Yeah. Oh no, not plasma cutter, the brake press. Yeah. So I was just talking to Rob about some drawings I just got for him. Out here, outside the back of the main workshop, we have 4 new additions. So, 4 conveyors. Now these are very interesting. These are telescopic conveyors, these 2 larger ones. So I don't know how long this actually extends out to, but you've got the main bit there, and then you've got 1, 2, 3 other extensions that all come out. I assume all 3 are about the same length as this here. So it's a massive conveyor. I hate to imagine how much the conveyor belt itself costs. So this is in, or these are in, for some refurbishment work. We are working in partnership with Bob at SWS. They clear a lot of warehouses and whatnot like that. And yeah, instead of scrapping them, we are going to refurbish them so that they can be sold on for a profit. So obviously these are a lot smaller, small swan necks. Hopefully not too bad. I think Bob is coming in the next few weeks, and then I'd imagine him, myself, Gavin and Andrea probably will have a walk around, talk about different ideas about what and how to do the refurbishment work for it. So yeah, that is the update for now. So about to show you the test fit currently for the Takeuchi thumb on the bucket. So we've got our bushes within that there. They're currently just tacked in for now. Got our new pin, just it's cut oversized for now. When Cole machines that, we'll get them to drill and tap the ends and turn it down to the proper length. Hydraulic ram, which we'll be connecting up there. So that we just need to make some brackets for. And then, so as I said, one of the salesmen is coming tomorrow to have a look at fitting this up. So he just wants to make sure that it's all tickety-boo. So yeah, this essentially, that ram will push down on the pin there, and then because of the angle that it will be at, it will be pushing it out, which will want to fold this down and then sort of pinch any sort of big boulders or rocks or anything there. So yeah, that is the whole point. So it's tacked up at the minute, test fit position. Need to get them plates cut for at the top there, wait for the salesman to come tomorrow morning. So yeah, that's probably as much as you'll see for now. When welding it up, we might get some clips of it then.
But it's been a while since I've been on camera, so hello Spitfire fans. I'm working on the brake press right now, and I'm folding, well currently cleaning up and then folding digger radio pods. So on the pallet just to my right, your left, there's some ones I've already folded. There's another little pile as well that's still yet to be folded, and then a whole different set of pieces that join to the piece that's being held up to the camera now. So yeah, I'm just cracking on with that, and they'll be done soon.
As you see, about done. This is everything you need for your conveyor. You've got your head and tail sections at the bottom, back panel, other bits and pieces, freeboards. The final bit I'm working on is the tail roller over here, which is about done, in all fairness. There's only one more run to put in, and then just weld up the ends here. Then once that's done, that's all fully done, because the head roller's already been done and been sent off to get lagged. So yeah, once that's back and this is painted, it can all go together.
So Friday morning, I am just popped out to pick up some nuts and bolts and some bits and bobs. So we've got Stuart and George just gone to site. JMO finished on site last night. He's off on his hollybobs, so he's off for a couple of weeks now. Ashley was with us yesterday. He's gone back to the workshop, so it's just me, George and Stuart up here now. Like I say, I've just come pick some bits and bobs up, and today hopefully is the day that we start turning stuff on. We were waiting for the electricians yesterday. We're ready for a switch on now. We've still got to track belts, tidy up the side skirts on the conveyors, a few bits and bobs, but we're sort of ready. We're just fiddling around really now, waiting for the electricians to get the power in. Everything's connected. They've just got to get the main cable in this morning from the distribution board to power up our control box. They're doing that first thing, and then there's 2 wires, one each to one of the tomras, so there's an integration between our control panel and the tomras, so everything works together. So I've got that to finish off today, but yeah, hopefully today is the day that we turn it on, which means that I was wide awake at 4 o'clock this morning, worrying about stuff, thinking about stuff. Have we done this? Have we done that? It's fairly standard when you get a job like this on the last. It's you know, you got the excitement, it's building, and you're putting it all together, and it all looks good. You're happy with everything, but then when it actually comes to the bit where you've got to press the button and get it all working, and that you then start, crikey, hang on a minute. How about this? How about that? But you know, we are in a good place, and it is all good. So you know, this is fairly standard, this is normal. If anybody's ever done a job like this, whether it's like this or you know, you're building something else, and that there's always them little nerves towards the end that I suppose make you human, and it's that thrill that makes us want to do it again, I suppose, really. But yeah, today's the big day, so I'm going to get these bits picked up, and then I'll head back to the site, and hopefully the electricians will be somewhere near getting the electric sorted, because the customer's actually we've got Tomra coming today, and the customer's also got somebody coming today to look at one of the products. So yeah, it's going to be a busy day today. So we're nowhere near ready to start, and then the customer turns up and says, can we put a bucket full through? We've got a man here to have a look at the plastic coming off the end. Give it a go, see what happens. How bad could it be? So this is the material that has come out of the trommel. Small bits of plastic in there, some dust. Customer is having a dust extraction system on the shredder, so some of this fine dust here probably won't be in here, but they're looking at a potential deck screen to screen this further. They're going to send a sample of this material down next week with the lads, and we'll put it over a deck screen and see what we can do with that, because there is a lot of plastic in there. There's actually some copper in there as well, if you can see that, some copper wire. There's also some alley in here earlier on that we saw. There's a piece of alley there. So it might be worth processing the fines even further. So it's the whole circular economy of recycling. You buy your washing machine, they take the old one away, gets recycled. Scrap metal is there, so that's what your washing machine used to look like, or looks like now. That used to be a washing machine. That's scrap metal, and then obviously there's whatever's left over there, which is going to be going through the plant that we've designed and built, that then gets screened down and sorted further, and that will be reused. The plastic will be recycled, the copper will be recycled, aluminium recycled, the metal will be recycled. So there won't be a lot that won't be recycled. So that's us done for today. Today was a bit hectic. I think Adam's just slipped in some bits of having it running. So customer wanted to put some material through it. We weren't quite ready. We said, why not? Go for it. So we put some material through it. Adam's probably already showed you that. We'll show you that now. But that's us done for today. There's still some belt tracking to do, some side skirts, general tidying up. The cages still need going on the fencing around the conveyors. They've all been cut, but we are running. Just a few bits and bobs to tidy up now. I think we've got Stuart and Ashley coming back next week just to do those few bits and bobs, and fingers crossed they'll be done early next week and away they'll go. So I'm going to sign off now for this week. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I'll catch up with you next week. So it's Sunday morning and I couldn't leave this week's episode like that. I said when we first started doing these videos I would show you warts and all, and the Manchester project has got a major issue with it, one that we can't rectify at this moment in time. On Friday morning lunchtime we got everything running, and conveyor 5, which is the big swan neck conveyor going out, we run that up, and the belt at the bottom has gone hard over to one side, and the belt at the top has gone hard over to the opposite side. Now normally you have to track the belts, which means you adjust them, and on our conveyors you can adjust both ends to make sure that the belt runs true in the middle of the actual conveyor chassis. But like I say, we've got the bottom hard over to the right, the top really hard over to the left, and we've adjusted it, we've slackened the belt, tightened the belt, we've done all sorts to try and get it right. We even slackened the belt off, positioned the belt in the middle where it should be, tensioned it all back up, and as soon as we ran it, it went straight back across. So we left about 6 o'clock on Friday night and didn't actually get it resolved. So the lads are back up there tomorrow, and this is a major problem that at the minute I haven't got an answer for. So I'm gonna have to put my thinking cap on and see what we can do to resolve this situation. But as it stands at the minute, we have a major problem with the Manchester project, and I haven't got any answers of how we're going to sort it out. I popped over. I didn't pop anywhere over anywhere.
You can't put this in, Adam. Hair's all over the place. Cool, I do.
So it's Wednesday morning, just started filming and I realised I've got George looking over my shoulder. I don't know if Adam's caught that on camera.